prevention at hand. Men's Forum Against Domestic Violence Uganda is a civil society organization that engages men and boys in the fight against gender-based violence, violence in all its manifestations. Today, we are proud to celebrate 10 years since our inception. We were founded in March 2014, and as we speak, March this year, we are going to be celebrating our 10th anniversary. A lot has been done in the space of GBV response and prevention. Therefore, today we celebrate the following milestones. As I have said, we have successfully made it 10 years in the field of GBV and HIV response and prevention. And we are licensed to operate countrywide. And because of that, as an organization, we've carried out several interventions countrywide. And in our engagements, we have reached out to more than 850 families. We have intervened in about 1,500 cases of domestic violence, which we have resolved amicably, create peace, to restore sanity in our homes. Our team of experienced counselors, field officers, has engaged over 14,000 clients all over Uganda using face-to-face sessions, hotlines, and social media platforms. And we are proud to say, dear Ugandans, that owing to our countrywide sensitization campaigns, cases of domestic violence reported countrywide to different authorities, police, stakeholders, civil society, Men's Forum Office, have dropped from 57.2% in 2014 to 31.9% in 2024. That is a milestone that we have to celebrate as a country. Allow me to expound a little bit on this. Before Men's Forum came in, there were very few men that reported cases of gender-based violence to police and other authorities. Basic reporting was not there. In our sensitization campaigns, we have sensitized men to report gender-based violence to authorities, not to suffocate silently. Because if they do, they will perpetrate all forms of violence you can ever imagine. And this creates insecurity for our women in our world. On top of that, as another milestone, we have achieved over a 10-year period a large stakeholder base. This is evidenced by the big number of core partners and strategic partners and collaborators that we have as of now. Notably, the most important stakeholders that we have the Uganda Police. We have the Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development, which is here with us today. We have different media houses that we have worked with over the 10 years. Most of you are here. We have donors, like USAID, PEPFAR, and other actors in the civil society, like Plan International, Save the Children, Care International, Children's Villages, and many others. Allow me at this point to thank the government of Uganda for being a wonderful, for being a supportive strategic partner. We have accomplished quite a number of tasks and projects together with the Ministry of Gender. And as we speak now, we were part of the stakeholders in the formulation of the family policy, which is now at its final stages. And so many other projects have been accomplished together with the Ministry of Gender. We would like to thank the Commission. We would like to thank the Minister. We would like to thank everybody at the Ministry of Gender for this wonderful collaboration that is bearing fruits. Across Uganda, we have formed 37 male action groups directly mentored by their mother organization, the Men's Forum. In brief, male action groups are groups of men, simple groups, which are led by men who are exemplary change agents and equitable partners in society. We train these people into GBV response. We train these people in parenting. We train these people in reporting violence. And we train these people in helping other men across the country to realize that dialogue is one of the key solutions to domestic crisis. And after they have picked this information, they now go back to their communities and act as change agents and inspire so many other men to be like them. 37 groups across Uganda have been created. They are on ground and they are doing a commendable job. In 2019, we successfully established and incorporated a savings and cooperative society known as Men's Forum Cooperative Savings and Credit Society with an open membership. We don't discriminate whether you are a man, whether you are a woman. It is an intervention, it is a strategic intervention that we thought would help us to fight poverty. Poverty being the major causes of domestic violence. So we thought among those clients that we deal with, we began with those ones as the first members. And ladies and gentlemen, as we speak now, the membership of this cooperative has raised to about 400 beneficiaries who, by way of microcredit and accumulated saving, are benefiting directly from the cooperative. Allow me briefly to flash a light on 2023 as a year, how it has been. We have major concerns and observations that we have made last year, 2023, and we would like to share them with the Ugandans. And afterwards, we shall chart a way forward together. We need to do these things together, building more partnerships forward. Now, one of the major observations for last year, 2023, there was an increase, there was a soar in divorce cases across the country. 60% of these cases are attributed to domestic conflict over family wealth and property ownership. That was an observation that we made, and we are going to chart a way forward. Number two, there was also a notable increase in the number of female parents, spouses, accusing their male spouses on matters related with child neglect. Regardless of whether these cases have been reported or not, it is a problem that we are grappling with as a country. And 34 of such cases last year were reported to our office in Najjana Nkumbi, which we tried to amicably solve, and things were restored to normal. In this, however, we noted from our finding that some of these female spouses reported these cases on simple castigation, trying to castigate their husbands for selfish interests. And for such cases that we discovered, we called in the men, sat down with them, the fathers, the husbands to these people, and tried to enter deep in some of these cases. And we are proud to say that these cases have been finally solved and resolved. There is still a high number of men who fail because GBV. Despite our efforts, there are still those men who still feel they can use their preponderant power to solve crises in their homes. In every 10 men that we interviewed facing the GBV, we discovered that only 5 of them have reported this violence somewhere. And this points to one thing, that there is still a great job to be done. Men must be made to feel that reporting violence does not make them less of a man. It was observed also from our findings, from our research, that there is a tendency in different social spheres of people castigating fathers who attempt to seek DNA facilities. Many of these fathers are usually judged by society as having personality gaps or being sexually inept. This is wrong, ladies and gentlemen. Therefore, we still encourage all fathers watching me today, wherever you are, who can afford DNA, to carry it out on your children. It is for your own good. We also encourage parents to register your children with the NIRA to obtain for them national IDs. Parents on this very issue should ensure, you should ensure, every parent watching me today, that when these children are being registered in the database of NIRA, correct information is captured so as to sort out certain problems that may arise in the future over their paternity and origin. Another observation that we made in 2023, there were many reported cases of stepchildren in families conniving with their mothers against their stepdads, their stepfathers. And in some isolated cases, such incidences resulted in the death of these fathers in question. Very absurd, very awful. The Uganda police reported last year that these murders were registered in Kiruhura, Buhweju, Bushenyi, Gomba, and Buyende. In total, 12 men were reported to have been killed under similar circumstances last year by their spouses and children, stepchildren. Ladies and gentlemen, I think this is awful. This points us to a need for more strategic interventions and collaborations and partnerships to fight this emerging. From our findings, in the judiciary, many magistrates in family courts do not labor enough to carry out thorough investigations about the cases that are reported in their courts. And as such, They make explicit judgments, sometimes based on emotion, sometimes based on personal experiences. And in most cases, the victims are affected in the process. In the same regard, we also report that we noted wherever we went, our teams wherever they went, that in some probation officers, some probation officers conferred upon themselves the right to solve cases that should have been handled by competent courts of law. This was mainly noted in Busoga sub-region and in Acholi sub-region. And it was also noted that some of these probation officers handled these issues or these cases poorly. One isolated case that we saw was of one probation officer who took advantage of a person reporting a case of domestic violence and ended up into a promiscuous sexual relationship with that person. It was very absurd. Land evictions during the year 2023 were several. And unfortunately, many of these ones went unsanctioned. This resulted into separation and breakdown of several families. In Kiryandongo, for example, more than 30,000 families, over 9,500 acres of land were evicted from their land, especially between 2017 and 2023. Thus placing the victims under untold physical and psychological pressure. We are going to chat away forward. We are going to make suggestions as to what should be done to some of these observations that are noted. In police cells across Uganda, there were a high number of suspects detained and remanded for cases that relate to domestic violence. And most of these cases were awaiting trial, majority of whom were male. Now, whether these people have been considered guilty or not, it is our humble plea as a forum that their cases are revisited, their cases are heard, such that the innocent persons are set free to reunite with their families again. A lot of things are happening to these people whose families are left helpless. Most of these people who have been remanded, most of these people who are in cells, sometimes their cases have never been heard, are experiencing great torture inside there, psychological torture. Their families are breaking up. Their women are being married off. Their husbands are marrying other women. And we are requesting that if such cases could be heard again, if such cases could be revisited, if such cases could be expeditiously handled and settled and heard and settled, so that these people, those who are free, those who are not guilty, who are innocent, go back to reunite with their families. It can help a lot in stabilizing, restoring stability in families. We also got astonished at the manner in which some people acquire letters of administration from the Administrator General's office, or the manner in which some people acquire deeds or titles from the Ministry of Lands for land which they have no vivid proof of ownership. These evictions and this kind of acquisition of titles and deeds has not only caused massive evictions in Uganda, all over Uganda, but has also placed the victims under untold destitution, violence, and death. As I conclude, as I wind up on our observations, we also need to remind Ugandans watching me today that the HIV scare is still enormous. HIV is still a very big problem. New infections are increasing, are rising, are soaring on a daily basis, especially among the youth. The HIV prevalence rate as we speak now in the country stands at 5.8% countrywide. Kalangala with the highest prevalence of 18.2%, followed by Mbarara with 7.9% prevalence rate. Ladies and gentlemen, we should not be made to think that even when we have the antiretroviral therapy, HIV scare had subsidized. It hasn't. It hasn't. Actually, HIV infections are rising. Therefore, this is a great threat to our human resource potential as a country, and above all, to the existence and stability of the family as a fundamental unit of society. Now, having given you these observations that we've made as a forum, let me wind up with, let me conclude with our suggestions. What do we have to suggest as a forum? As Men's Forum, we believe that the following interventions I'm going to talk about can help downscale gender-based violence in all its manifestations as we embark on implementing a zero tolerance to violence strategy. Number one, we urge all civil society actors in the GBV space to integrate family dialogue and arbitration in their work methodologies. We believe, as opposed to condoning separation, civil society actors should work towards reconciling conflicting partners, because we believe as a forum that it is more rewarding to accumulate assets together as a family than dividing or sharing them. That is our humble plea to all civil society actors in this space. Let us integrate dialogue, let us integrate arbitration than condoning separation. Number two, family fathers' contributions to the family welfare are usually taken for granted. Fathers are usually taken for granted. After all, they are fathers and they should provide. Their contribution is usually taken for granted. Now, it is high time, dear Ugandans watching me today, that we recognize the role of those fathers that giving their best, their all, to ensure that their families' welfare is catered for. School fees, feeding, and other expenses. Let us recognize those fathers, other than castigating them. As a forum, this is the rationale upon which we instituted what we called the annual Father's Day celebration, that we have now marked for over 7 years. This celebration is celebrated on every 21st of June. And on such days, we recognize those model, those outstanding fathers that have played a pivotal role in caregiving and raising up their children and looking after their families in general. We also believe that all men and women exposed to gender-based violence, whether educated or not, must now find it more convenient to disclose violence to relevant authorities, other than suffocating in silence. We are grateful to those actors, especially in government, our collaborators, the Ministry of Gender, and the civil society, that have created an enabling environment for reporting gender-based violence and for integrating psychosocial support and care in plans to all survivors of GBV. However, a lot still needs to be done in this space to bring down the prevalence of gender-based violence in Uganda. Now, I want this to be got very clear. We came out and talked about DNA testing. I have also talked about it. And we received the same criticism from other actors in the civil society. But I would like to make it categorically clear. For a number of years, we have made it as a request, an official request, a plea to the government, especially the Parliament of Uganda, to debate, bring this bill in Parliament concerning DNA. We believe that DNA testing should be made compulsory at birth. I was here 3 times ago emphasizing this very same point, and I'm bringing it back. DNA testing should be made compulsory at birth to ascertain the right paternity of our children. I want to emphasize this. Kankasane mu Uganda ti omwana oluzaalibwa bw'atibe bba agibweko omusaayi, agibweko DNA, tusobole okutegeera obuzaale bw'obutuufu, the paternity. Such an important issue. We believe that once this is done, it will help to increase the fidelity in our homes. It will stabilize our families, and above all, it will reduce conflict among our family members, especially which occurs at the death of one of the family members. Ladies and gentlemen, we have seen bodies being exhumed so that a DNA sample is taken. This should not be done. This level. Why do you disturb the peace of the dead by exhuming a body to take a DNA sample? And yet this person lived on earth for quite a good time before he passed on. So we believe that DNA testing can help us solve so many problems. On this, I would like to make this plea once again as I wind up, to the government, to the members of Parliament watching me today. Let us bring this bill in Parliament. Let us discuss it. Let us find a way it can work. We ask the government to subsidize DNA, to make it more affordable, so that people can afford it. Lastly, land issues should be technically dealt with. Public officers in charge of administering deeds and titles and letters of administration must do it with due diligence. The law must be enforced impartially when it comes to the relationship between landlords and plot owners, and judges handling these issues must go to the ground to ascertain the truth about these issues being raised before them. By doing this, we shall protect the existence, the nobility of the family as a fundamental unit, which is now being threatened by land evictions. Lastly, capture this very well. We beseech His Excellency the President, using his prerogative of mercy. We were so grateful when some of our brothers and sisters, under the presidential prerogative of mercy, were set free to reunite again with their families. We also request him that there are so many other members of society, so many other men and women incarcerated on issues of domestic violence. Many of them are there. Now, we request that these people, especially those who have served more than half of their sentences, can be set free. Because the longer they stay incarcerated, the more they lose the touch with their families, and the higher the chances of breaking down. I thank you so much. Have a nice day.
Thank you so much, Robert. At this moment, you allow me to have Commissioner Mr. Rams.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Government of Uganda and Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development, I'm happy to meet you today on a joint statement with Men's Forum at the